Oh, hi. Hello. It's a new day. It's a beautiful day outside right now. I'm so excited to go outside today, y'all. I'm feeling super good. I feel like in the last episode, I was I was depressed, y'all. But we're on the up. I actually was just sick, but I finally am starting to feel better today, but I've been sick like all week. But I really locked in yesterday and chugged a bunch of water and just let myself rest, and it paid off. It's really so important to let your body rest. That's not what today's episode is about, but I just felt like it's kind of nice to have a little check-in at the start of these episodes. I'll do highs and lows. I would also love to hear y'all's highs and lows in the comments if you'd like to share. I would say my high right now is doing life laughing and being serious with sacred humans, with my besties. I just love my friends genuinely so much, and it makes my heart swell with joy. Like, I am just so thankful for the people in my life, and that's something to really celebrate because every day is beautiful when you have amazing, wonderful, beautiful human beings in your life. And so that's something I'm super thankful for. Low, I kind of just talked about, which the nice thing is I'm coming off the lows, but I was just sick, which sucks. Sometimes when I'm sick, I just feel like I'm like wasting my days. And then I was also just depressed like a couple weeks ago because I was feeling so existential, but I'm kind of out of that. This episode is going to be kind of coming off the back of that feeling of feeling existential. Dreaming small. That's what this episode's about. And I'll explain more of what I mean by that. But first, I wanted to talk about how it's really hard as an adult having to deconstruct entire belief systems and mindsets. And I've done that with religion. Somehow, at the age of 24, I have managed to deconstruct an entire religious belief that was deeply ingrained in my identity and feel completely healed from that. Like, it almost feels like another lifetime ago when I was like suffering the repercussions of the cognitive dissonance of leaving something like that. So I know that any sort of like cognitive dissonance I feel about what I'm about to talk about will pass, and I'll grow and learn through it, because I've been in a similar situation when it comes to like my spiritual beliefs. And right now I'm kind of what I'm kind of deconstructing is my beliefs about work and capitalism and like what is meant to be important to me as a human being and what is actually important to me versus what I feel like we are, at least in the United States, kind of trained to see as important. I've been having a lot of conversations with friends about this over the past few weeks, so a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is gonna be inspired by things my friends have said, things that I've kind of had revelations about in these conversations with my friends. So I think it only makes sense to start off this episode talking about how thankful I am for my friendships, because I feel like a lot of the conversations I've had in the past few weeks have really shifted my mindset for the better and just helped me have kind of a new lens to look at things with. And it's not a full 180. I'm still having thoughts and moments of like panicking, but I am so thankful that like every little conversation I've had has led to this feeling of kind of clarity in a way, which I was really craving, some sort of clarity. And that really goes along with my theme of dreaming small, which once again I'm about to explain more about. But I'm reframing my mindset to detach from the idea of dreaming big. the concept that we are taught to dream big, the fact that in fucking kindergarten we're asked, what is your dream job? Like, just shoot for the stars. You can do anything you want. It's empowering, right? The message that you can do whatever you want. And typically this is applied to career. At least for me, when I hear those words, I think of career. I feel like that's kind of what it's always revolved around. Like, oh, you can do whatever you want. I guess it could also apply to like education and traveling would be the other two big things that are like kind of tied to that. But really, I feel like, and if you see this differently, let me know. But I feel like that kind of term of like, you can be anything you want to be typically comes down to like a job. Because our school system is centered around capitalism and working because, you know, we have to work to survive. I think that a lot of people probably take that sentiment to mean like you can be whatever you want to be. Like you can be queer, you can be trans, you can love who you love, you can believe what you believe, you can embrace your culture and your identity and your ethnicity and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's like a really good way to redefine it and look at it. But what I'm talking about it in this episode is just that sentiment of you can be whatever you want to be in the capitalistic sense. Because I just think about when we're younger and teachers are like, what's your dream job? For me, I always really wanted to be a teacher, actually, when I was a kid. Like, my parents would buy me, like, teaching supplies for Christmas, and I always really loved playing school, which, I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, I was at school all the time, so it was familiar to me, and so I guess I wasn't that good, quote-unquote, at dreaming big, because it was just, like, whatever was right in front of me, but yeah, I hate that concept. Hate it. I went to my friend had a spiritual healing night, and we did a meditation and some guided journal prompts, and that night I was just kind of processing like a tarot reading that my friend did for me and journaling. And I just wanted to read this journal entry that I made because I feel like for me it was really kind of an epiphany I had just like in this flash moment of time. I had an epiphany about something, that a eureka, if you will. I have my little like my scientist moment with my epiphany. Which is why it's so important to take time to process your thoughts and feelings, whether that's like talking to friends or journaling or whatever, because then you kind of have these moments of reflection and realizations, and then those realizations become different realizations because as humans we're constantly changing and evolving. But my journal entry, I'm just going to go ahead and read it. And I think when I read this, it will kind of explain what I mean by dreaming small. I don't like how it feels to, quote, dream big. I want to dream little. I want to dream of writing a poem today and hanging with a sacred friend tomorrow. Of tarot cards today and buying flowers for myself tomorrow. It's simple and it's magical and it's here and now. I hate striving for later. I've spent so much of my life doing that, downplaying the current version of myself. So that's just like a snippet. And when is this journal entry from? I mean, this must have been probably about a month ago at this point. So I've had time to like think about this realization I had about how I don't actually care about like following my quote dreams, you know? I feel like for me, especially in college, the concept of college is you pick one thing and you pour every little thing that you do into that, and it's so overwhelming and it's so exhausting to constantly be working towards something. I hate that feeling so much. I hate feeling like I'm doing 10 different things at once. Not even feeling like, I hate doing 10 different things at once in the name of a big dream, you know, that feels important because our society says that it's important to work towards these big things. I think that for me, on the tail end of my kind of mini existential crisis that I just had about trying to figure out what I want to do and how I want my career to look. Unfortunately, that's been coming up in like all of these episodes because I just graduated college like a year ago, and so it's just fresh on my mind. And I'm in my 20s, so yeah, fucking course, I'm stressed about that with the rest of the freaking world. But I think that like I kind of got to this point in my thought process where I was like, okay, well, I could either pivot to something more practical. I could try to be a therapist, or I could try to do marketing, or something that has kind of a cut and dry path. Like, you do this so that you can get this job. It's like at least a little bit more. And I mean, I already kind of did that with my bachelor's degree, but I just haven't gotten a job in the field that I studied. But I was like, I could try to just do like a more, quote, practical pursuit. But then talking with people, some people anyways, I have friends who are more practical who are like, yeah, like if you go back to school, you should do it for something that like you know for sure is going to lead to a career, which I don't think is bad advice. But then I also have friends who are extremely, extremely creative and have really big creative goals and dreams and passions, and they're willing to like move and do all these things in order to get to those goals, who are like, oh my gosh, you know what? Like, what makes you the most creatively happy and fulfilled? For me, that's like, at least right now, it's like writing poetry and like creating art. I would even say like creating this podcast is something that's like creatively fulfilling for me, spiritually fulfilling for me. But yeah, for me, when I was like in those conversations, I was thinking about like writing and poetry and how much I love that. And they're like, you should go back to school and get your master's, your MFA, and then you could become a poetry professor, and like that would be so fun. And like, not very practical, because it would be going back to school for something that is statistically even less likely to have a job for me than journalism would. But I am more passionate about like creative writing than I am news writing, for sure. So I kind of pivoted to that. I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna dream big. I'm not gonna dream practical. I'm gonna dream big. I'm gonna look at master's programs and try to figure out like what I want to do and do what makes me feel the most creatively fulfilled, and just, you know, be an artist. Well, that got overwhelming really quickly, because now I have these huge goals. And then at one point I was like, well, I don't know what I want, so I'm just gonna try to do everything. That never fucking works for me. I hate doing like so many things at once. It makes me miserable. I am miserable when I'm doing a bunch of stuff at once. It's like life is not even fucking worth living because I'm stressed. Right now I have like, besides my actual job serving, I have like one other like professional responsibility, and I'm already overwhelmed about it. And then I also have like my own like side things that I really want to like continue creating in, which is like this and putting out fun, silly vlogs, and also like posting my writing to social media. So that's already a lot for me. So when I thought about, okay, well, I could look at master's programs in like therapy, because I was considering that, and I could also look at master's programs in poetry, and I could also, keep applying for journalism jobs. That was part of what led to my existential spiral, is because I just started trying to do too goddamn much. And then I get paralyzed because I'm like, this isn't fun. This feels terrible. I wish I could just make a decision. Well, turns out, I don't actually really care that much about dreaming big, because this feels overwhelming, and it also doesn't feel like that important to me to have this career. Like, would it be fucking awesome to have a job that makes me feel creatively fulfilled? Yes. I don't know how to get there. I don't know the path to take to do that. It's really overwhelming for me right now. So I'm looking at my options, and I'm like, okay, so my options are, after talking to like people who care about me and whose opinions I deeply respect, are I can either be practical, or I can dream big and follow my artistic goals and dreams, or I can do both. So fuck, I don't want to do any of that. It just the process of all of it just is so not fun to me. It's so not fun, it's stressful, and it's overwhelming. And I know that, like, in order to get things you want, it's not always easy and fun. And I know that that's, like, a common sentiment. It takes hard work to get the things that, like, feel good. So I guess take my conclusion on this with a grain of salt, because, like, while I know that's also true, I was desperate for, like, a third option. I'm like, is there a secret third option to having a practical solution or dreaming big? I mean, because I am just not matching with either of these. I don't feel like my value is intertwined with my career. Do I see benefits on both sides? Would it be nice to have, like, a practical career that makes good money? Yes, 100%. Does it seem beautiful and amazing to have a career that feels creatively fulfilling? Hell yeah. But right now in my life as it is, the process to getting to those things sounds miserable, because I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to do, because I look at the big picture and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out everything. And so then when I was journaling this, I'm thinking, well, why do all my days when I have these, like, when I'm thinking big picture rather than, like, small thinking, why does every day feel so fucking miserable? Like, why am I so anxious and stressed out if I'm working towards things that, like, feel exciting or would provide me a better quality of life potentially? It really is what people say about, like, the process being more important than the result. I cannot go another day, another week, another year, another decade, another fucking lifetime of, like, feeling bad. You know what I mean? It's like that one quote that's like, oh my god, who is it? Is that, like, Kim Cattrall? Who says that? That quote where Kim Cattrall is like, I don't want to be in a situation for even an hour where I'm not enjoying myself. That's how I feel right now about life. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And why would I do things that don't make me feel good? Why would I do it? I don't understand. Like, how I was able to do that for so long. This is not me saying that my life has been fucking miserable. I know that this sounds so black and white, but I really have been able to cultivate a life for myself right now where I can really enjoy my day to day without feeling like I'm missing anything. To me, I get that by, like, letting myself dream small. Letting myself feel like I can have these small goals that probably will lead to these big dreams, but I don't want to think about that. I don't want to focus on the dreaming big of it. I don't think that, like, not knowing exactly what you're working towards means that you're not working towards anything or that you're stagnant. Because change is gonna happen, things will flow, and as long as I'm doing things and creating things and taking care of myself in ways that make me feel good, in ways that are healthy, and ways that are fun, in ways that I need to, then I trust that things will work out. You know what I mean? Which is such a mindset shift in the way I was thinking even just like a few weeks ago, when I was like, I have to figure out like what I want overall in order to like figure out what to do right now. And then I'm so paralyzed, and I'm like, after weeks and weeks of being like, I don't know, I was like, oh, it's almost like I didn't even mean to have this mindset shift, but it kind of just happened after like weeks of probably like having the same conversations with like so many of my different friends. And then I was talking to my friend, I guess this was like a weekish ago, and I was like, I know that I enjoy spending time with my friends. I know that I enjoy where I live. I know that I'm working towards paying off my debt, and I've been able to do that, and I know that I just started doing this like unpaid marketing thing for a local poetry group, which is like a pretty cool opportunity. And so I'm doing things, you know. It's unpaid, right? So it's not like ideal, but I'm working towards these things. I don't need to figure out everything. And I certainly don't need to go back to school right now. When I think about going back to school, like actually, like the actual idea of being back in classes again, hell no. Hell no. I was so stressed out in college. I don't want to do that. So I'm just dreaming small. I'm just dreaming day to day. And I wish that, like, that was the general consensus of humanity. It was just like, why are we so focused as a fucking species on, like, these huge accomplishments? I don't like it. I don't like grind culture. I don't actually find any value for myself or other people in what they do to make money. I don't really give a fuck. I don't care. I could not care less. Notice how I actually said that correctly. It's couldn't care less, not could care less. It's couldn't. Notice, clock it. I'm smart and I'm intelligent. I just don't care. But it's really weird when you don't care about something. You know deep down what your values are, but then for some reason, your brain and your body are having this visceral reaction like you do give a fuck. That's the cognitive dissonance. That's the cognitive dissonance that you feel when you're in deconstruction. When I was deconstructing religion, that's how I felt all the time. It was like, I know that I don't believe this, or I know that this doesn't make sense to me, but for some reason, I feel so anxious and stressed because I feel like this should mean something to me. This episode is a little bit more ranty than previous episodes, honestly. It's not as structured. I feel like with the last couple episodes, I was able to find, like, other people's perspectives online, I guess, about what I was talking about to kind of, like, bounce off of. This is something that literally just came to me, and, like, the concept of, like, dreaming small is, like, kind of something that I just thought about. So bear with me if this is a little bit rambly and a little bit all over the place. And I hope that you're able to kind of hear what I'm saying and hear my perspective. Oh, I remember now what I was talking about. The deconstruction of it. The cognitive dissonance of feeling like I should care about dreaming big. Because I feel like the first step of deconstructing, like, the capitalistic mindset of, like, grind culture is, okay, well, you don't have to have these practical dreams. You don't have to be wanting a job that's, like in STEM or what people would consider practical. You can study art. You can be an artist. But then it's, like, the next step to that is, like, you don't even have to, like, care about what you do to make money. it doesn't really matter. As long as you're able to support yourself, I don't believe that there's really any value tied to what we do to make money. And maybe call that a cope, because I don't have a job that's like respected in society. So maybe that's just me coping with it. But if that's how I cope, I think it's a beautiful way to cope, because I would way rather be a human being who sees other human beings as worthy and valuable based off of their fucking being and their personalities and who they are, rather than what they do for work. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just don't care. Do I find what people's jobs sometimes like interesting? Sometimes. Most of the time I don't really care. Like, most of the time. Obviously, if it's like somebody I care about and they're like talking about their job, I'm not like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I want to hear your stories and like what is important to you. And if you're passionate about your job, tell me about it. Or if you're complaining about your job, tell me about it. Hell yeah. I don't like how so much of our lives revolve around what we do for work. It is so odd to me. It is so odd to me. It is so weird. It is bizarre. It's so bizarre. It is so bizarre. Like, why do we give a fuck so much? I am meant to be in a village. No, I'm not. Okay. I just think about how, like, in the old times, like, people just picked one job and they just did it. Like, they were the village bartender or the village butcher or the village seamstress or the village storyteller or the village poet or the village preacher. And, like, they just did that. It wasn't, like, a grind to get to the next thing. They weren't dreaming big about it. They just lived their day to day. They dreamed small. They said, okay, I'm the village storyteller, so today I'm gonna read a poem to everybody. That's literally me. Like, why am I low-key the village storyteller of Austin, Texas? Okay, like, not actually, but I am the village storyteller of Soul Ajar and at Heather K. Stewart at Poetry Girl on social media. So we're all our own little village storytellers, or whatever. Insert whatever your cute little village role would be. One thing I've been tapping into a little bit, but also, like, not fully, because I read the first chapter and I haven't done it since then, but it's been on my mind since I read the first chapter, is The Artist's Way. And The Artist's Way, if you're not familiar, is like a workbook. Highly recommend it. Obviously, I haven't fully done it, but I got really overwhelmed because when I started doing it was like right when I started spiraling into oh my god. When I started doing it, it was like right when I started spiraling into a depression, and I started feeling really overwhelmed about it. Now I don't as much, but I just like haven't read the second chapter, but it's been something that's like coming up in my mind every day. Like, I've been journaling every day, and that's part of it. And one part of it is taking yourself out on an artist date, which for me, what I did was I like made a cute little collage, and like that was it. And it was really fun. And that's like one way that you can dream small, is just doing things for your inner artist. I don't know. It's just like, to me, a dream life is not about having a specific career. You can be anything you want to be, and that means today I wake up and I can dress like a hoe. Today I wake up and I can listen to my favorite song in the fucking world. Today I wake up and I can go out to the club later. Today I wake up and I can go to the park. Today I wake up and I can eat scrambled eggs, and they're gonna taste delicious. Today I wake up and I can call my friend. Today I wake up and I can sit by the lake. These are small things that make life feel like a dream. That's what dreaming small is. It's just like I said in my journal entry. Like, why would I not just do what I want to do today? Why would I sacrifice my day today for this thing that I'm not, for these big dreams that I don't even know will fulfill me in the end? That is so exhausting. I guarantee, and obviously, right, I haven't lived long enough to know this for sure, but I guarantee, I just feel it in my bones, and maybe I'll change my opinion on this, but I just feel it in my bones that if I keep this philosophy from here on out to just dream small, I'll eventually end up in situations that feel like I'm reaching my big dreams. By pursuing my little dreams, by dreaming little, I will eventually be living out my big dreams. And I will be dreaming big. End result, it will feel so much better than sacrificing all the little dreams and all the little joys in life in order to reach something and then just be like, well, fuck, I'm miserable. But I accomplished this thing, but I was miserable doing it. So it's like, what was the point? What was the point? If you didn't enjoy your day today, what was the point? Literally, what was the point? I know that everybody, at least everybody who's like an adult, has accomplished something and like looked back and been like, God, that was kind of shitty. For me, that was like college. Like, I got a lot done in school and I created things that I'm really proud of, but it was really hard and it was kind of shitty. Like, my mental health was ass. I like never had time for self-care. I was always stressed out. Doesn't mean that like my day-to-day was actually bad. Like, I wasn't like wanting to kill myself every day. But like, it was really fucking difficult. And in the past 6 months or whatever, I have not, like, I just feel so much better. Or I guess even since like adopting this mindset, it just feels so much better to just live day to day and trust that I'm doing what I need to do. Because if I'm good today and I'm also like taking tiny steps to set myself up for future success, I know I'm fine. Like, I know that I'll be good. I don't have to figure anything out. I don't. What's the reason to figure things out? Oh, because I need to be like working towards something. I have this like deep desire in my gut that I should be working towards something, even though I know that I don't actually need to be in order to like live a fulfilled life. Like, there's nothing that I feel like I have to do before I die, which is crazy to say. I used to be like, okay, well, I feel like I want to like publish a book before I die, or I don't know. That's like one big example that's always been kind of looming over my head, because when you're younger and you like to write, it's like a classic goal to have is like publish a book. I don't really give a fuck. I don't really care. I'm just trying to pay my rent, make good memories, period. I don't even care that much about like going to a bunch of places. I just like want to have fun and live my life. God damn. Like, can I just live my life? Can I just dream small? Can I just dream little? I think that more people should do that. Small things that make life feel like a dream. Dreaming little. More of those. Being spontaneous. For example, I randomly did stand-up a couple weeks ago. Literally so fun. And like kind of like a little dream fulfilled. Like, it was not something that I have this like huge career plan about, but it was something I was thinking about a lot. Another thing is with spontaneity is like a friend calling, like, for example, my friend called me yesterday and was like, I'm gonna come over right now. I'm gonna come over and eat my sandwich at your house. Literally, life feels like a dream when you're hanging out with one of your best friends and you're just making good memories, and like that I will literally cherish for the rest of my life. That's a small dream. I don't care if it sounds silly. Everything in life, what makes life feel like a dream is what makes you feel good. For me, creating, writing a poem, painting, making a collage, making a piece of art that I hang up on my wall that I get to see every day, or something for my friend, or like making a playlist for my friend, good sex, realizing what you like. For example, I have really realized that I like to take things slow and I don't like to do a bunch of shit at once. Isn't it awesome as an adult that you start to realize what works for you and what doesn't work for you? Wow, it feels really good to be like, wait, I actually know what works for me. I'm not just like fumbling around. I've been listening to the song Slow Burn by Casey Musgraves a lot because it's just a nice like reminder of like what is actually important to me, because I am all right with a slow burn. I will take my time and let the world turn. But sometimes you just need reminders of what actually matters to you and what actually makes your nervous system feel good. That's part of trusting your intuition, honestly. Another small thing that feels like a dream, listening to a song over and over that you love a lyric from, especially one that a friend showed you. That's a dream. That's a dream. Life is worth living. Life is a dream. The other day, I was driving around Austin, which is a city that I always wanted to live in when I was younger. And I literally call this place home. I was driving around for an hour just listening to music, and then I was listening to my friend's podcast. Shout out Divine FM, literally inspired this podcast. You guys should listen. It is linked to this podcast in podcasts like this, or things like this, or something like this. Something like that. It's linked somewhere on the page that you're listening to, so you should please listen to my friend's podcast. She made an episode about, I can't remember fully what the topic of the episode was, if this was the full topic, or if this was just, like, a fragment of the episode, but she was talking about, like, the importance of sitting in silence, and so after I listened to that episode, I just drove around in silence, which honestly I don't do a lot. I'm kind of a chronic, like, want music playing or a video playing at all times person. But ever since I listened to my friend's podcast, my perspective shifted a little bit. That's another way that life feels like a dream, is that you get to have conversations with people whose opinions and values and outlooks on life, like, mean so much to you. And then you get to live your life a little bit differently because of that, and in a way that feels a little bit better. Like, isn't that awesome that we get to just do that for the rest of our lives? That we just get to, like, keep making these small little tweaks and, like, doing small things for ourselves that just feel so fulfilling? That's beautiful. Small things that feel like a dream. Doing one thing at a time. Just do one thing at a time. Just dream little. I promise, from experience, it feels a lot better. At least try it. If you're really stuck in, like, a grind mindset and it's working for you, that's okay, because obviously every single person is different. This is one reason I feel hesitant about ever living somewhere like New York City, because it's, like, so important to the culture there, is, like, just constantly, like, grinding and like, dreaming big and having these huge goals and being career oriented. But if that's you, maybe just take a second and be like, what is one way that I can just dream small and do something that feels good today that doesn't even have anything to do with these, like, big dreams? Because I think part of me is saying, you do these small dream things and they'll eventually lead to big dream goals. But also, it's ultimately not about that. I think that is just me saying that is just a way to comfort myself or anybody listening that it's all gonna work out regardless of how you prioritize your day to day. But ultimately, for me, it's just about, like, feeling content on the daily. And if that means when I die I haven't accomplished any quote-unquote big dreams, so be it. Because when I die, people aren't going to be at my funeral. And also, when I die, I'll be dead. So it doesn't really fucking matter, right? If I die and I had a life full of day-to-day small little dreams that made me feel content, oh my god, I'm going to be so thankful. Like, if I do that for myself and set myself up in that way, like, I will be so thankful. Like, I kind of feel emotional talking about that. I don't know why. Like, I kind of want to cry. Ugh. I don't know. I think it just feels refreshing to even, like, but it also feels scary because it's so contradictory to, like, what society says. It's just scary, man. But ultimately, like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, to me, I guess it's really all super subjective. Maybe it is really important to you that you accomplish a big dream. I guess my philosophy right now, the philosophy of dreaming little, dreaming small, says that it doesn't actually matter. So, you know, this isn't freaking scripture, what I'm saying. Plot twist. This is actually not Bible Volume 2, like y'all thought it was. I know that people were listening and they thought that like God was speaking to me directly, and like the words that I was saying on this podcast were like God's words. I'm sorry. Like, I know that was, like, a confusion that happened with listeners. But yeah, no, that's not what's happening. My words are fallible. I am not a prophet. And I'm also 24 years old. And I'm also just figuring things out. But I know that this philosophy that I've just been thinking... Okay, philosophy is kind of a crazy word, but I can't think of a better word for it. It feels kind of dramatic, but it really does kind of feel special to me and my brain and my beliefs and my being currently to have this new mindset to cling to of dreaming little. And right now, I just don't think it matters to accomplish it. Which maybe sounds lazy. It really, like, some people will probably hear that or see the way I live my life and be like, oh, like, she's not working towards anything. Maybe. I don't even know. And that brings me to my next point, actually, which is the made-up naysayer. While I was, like, super depressed in the last month, I, like, had this idea that there were people looking at me being like, oh my god, she needs to figure her shit out. She needs to, like, figure out what her goals are, etc., etc. Nobody was saying that to me. Like, not even my parents. Like, literally nobody was saying that to me. I just have this, like, societal pressure that, like, I feel like people are judging me. And there very well could be. But the reality of my life and my situation is that nobody was actually saying anything to me. Dead ass. Like, dead ass. Nobody was, like, telling me that I needed to get my shit together. It just all of a sudden, like, there was a couple small things that balled up in my head to create this narrative that I need to get my shit together. Like, I think that a lot of people have that kind of made up naysayer where it's like, there's nobody actually saying anything. And I think it comes from overall societal expectations, you know, how the world around us creates our values and our beliefs, and then when our values and beliefs start to deter from those things, the rubble of the deconstruction of that is the made-up naysayers. So I had to kind of be like, wait, there's actually nobody saying those things to me. So I need to take a breath, because I look around at the people who love me and care about me and the people I love and care about so much. They don't care. And the people who do care, I don't really want them in my life anyway, because they're gonna make me feel like shit. And I get to do that. I get to choose who's in my life. That's one way that I dream little, is by choosing to have people in my life that make me feel good. That's fucking awesome. Life is fucking awesome. Anyways, I know that this episode was super ranty. I'm hoping that it kind of came together nicely, but we'll see. I'm feeling very positive right now, which is such a nice shift from how I was feeling in the last episode. I wanted to end this episode... Well, there's one tiny thing I want to end it with, but overall, I want to start closing off the episode with some journal prompts for y'all, anybody who's listening. And if you do end up doing them, I would love to, like, hear if you did. If you're my friend, like, you can text me and let me know. Or, like, you can leave comments in Spotify, which is, like, something I don't really do that often, but, like, a couple people have, and it makes me so happy. So if you want to, like, leave a comment that you did them, or if you want to share anything that you thought about, if you decide to do the prompts, feel free to. Like, I would just love to hear, because ultimately, like, my goal for this podcast is to just create discussion, to inspire people to think about their lives and look at things through a spiritual lens, which for me, honestly, spirituality is mostly about tapping into your own intuition and yourself. So it's not so much about a deity or a god. I don't know. Spirituality to me is about intuition and intentionality. So I think a journal prompt is a really good way to be intentional. And I think it's kind of beautiful, because what kind of sparked my idea for this podcast was one of my friends having journal prompts at an event that they hosted. So I don't know. I just love how creation works like that. One huge point of making art is to inspire more art. And then you consume more art, and then you make more art, and then you inspire more art, etc., etc. Like, I just love that so much. Okay. So the first question is, what are 3 small dreams you have for yourself today? For example, I want today to go thrifting. I want to finish watching my friend's vlog, and I also want to go outside because it looks beautiful outside. I haven't gone outside yet today, but I have my windows open, so I can just tell that it's like a nice day. It's probably hot as hell, but yeah, I just want to like, even if that means like walking outside when I go thrifting, that's fine. I just want to go outside. Small goals, small dreams. And my life is going to feel like a dream when I get to watch my friend's vlog and when I get to buy a couple clothing items that I like and that make me feel cutesy. So yeah, what are 3 small dreams you have for yourself today? Today. Notice how we focus on today, because you don't need to figure everything out. It's just about today. And if 3 feels like a lot, pick one. Pick one. Choose one thing. And it can literally be as simple as getting a glass of water. You know how magical having a sip of water is when you're dehydrated? Life feels like a dream. It feels magical when you have a sip of water when you're dehydrated. When you have a sip of water when you're hungover and dehydrated. I don't know. That's kind of the dream life to me. I don't know. I don't know about y'all, but also, I don't think I'm going to leave silent space in this, so I would pause this if you need time to, like, write. Also, I'll put these questions in the description of the episode, so that way, if you don't want to, like, pause, you can just look at the description. The next question is, how would you describe your made-up naysayer? What do they say? And what do you actually believe about yourself? So this one might take more time to think about. A simple example for me, first of all, my made-up naysayer is a bitch. Insanely critical, rude as hell, and a fucking stickler, like, and also kind of a loser. Like, I don't want to be friends with them, so it doesn't, that's, like, how I would describe mine, off the cuff. What they say is, they tell me I should have a different job by now, but what I actually believe about myself and about the world is having a certain job isn't really that important to me or valuable to me. That's a simple way of putting that answer. If for me, like, I would probably go into, like, even more depth than that, but I feel like I did that in the episode, but I just wanted to provide examples for each question, because sometimes I know more open-ended questions can be confusing to answer, and you're like, wait, how do I answer that? That could be interpreted in so many ways. And then you can do as many of these that come up for you, like as many things that your naysayer comes up for you, and then kind of like combat them with what you actually believe about yourself. Or if you really do agree with what your naysayer says, try to say what you would like to believe about yourself, or what a friend of yours would say, you know? I just want you to meet your negative naysayer with some positivity that makes you feel more content in your being and who you are. The next question is, what are your artistic and big dreams? So for me, one of my artistic goals is having a platform to make money from writing. So yeah, what is your big dream or your big dreams? I would pick one, but you can do as many as you want for this. I'm going to ask one more question after this to go hand in hand. But yeah, what's a big dream of yours, or your overarching dream, your career goal, what you want to be when you grow up type of shit. And then the next question is, now, how can you rewire these into small dreams? So for me, writing a poem whenever it comes to me is a small dream that I, like, cling to, and my day feels a bit more magical when I get to do it. When inspiration comes to me, my friend says something, or I see something, if I feel a feeling and it leads to me writing anything, that's a small dream fulfilled. Even if I don't end up sharing it, but I know that, like, me writing something will lead to me sharing some things eventually, because the more you do something, the more likely you're willing to share it because it just feels more natural. So yeah, that's my example. So that's the last question. I hope that you feel like you have a little bit more insight on what it means for you to dream little, because I think that it's such an open concept and it's something that I kind of just thought up, and you can make it yours however you want. I want it to be ours. I want it to be anybody's and everybody's who listens and wants to think about it at all and wants to incorporate it into their day or into their week or into their life. I just hope that you feel like you have a little bit more insight on like what is important to you and what dreaming little means to you and what little things you can do to make your life feel like a dream that don't feel so overarching and overwhelming and crushing. I have had a lock screen on my laptop for years. Like I feel like I put it on my laptop like halfway through college, and it's from the artist Satsi. If y'all aren't familiar with her, she's like popular on social media, and she makes like cute little art, and I believe she's Buddhist, and she makes really, I don't know, I find her art and her posts really impactful, and they're simple and they're profound at the same time, and I've just always found her really fascinating as a creator. But there's a drawing that she did, I don't even know what like 2 cute little animals, and one of them is saying, "I want my life to be full of great moments." And then the other one is saying, "Great moments exist inside of ordinary moments. Try having a cup of tea." Yeah. Try having a cup of tea. Try dreaming little and keep your soul ajar to those little dreams. Okay. I will talk to y'all later. I'm gonna try to upload maybe more consistently, but right now I've just been doing it sporadically, so we'll see. We'll see what the vibe is. We'll see how I feel, because I don't want it to start feeling overwhelming, so I'm just proud of myself for even continuing to create. So, yeah. Alright. Mwah. I hope y'all have a beautiful day and that you do something today that feels like a dream. Or makes your life feel like a dream.